Hey, everybody. I am here with Joseph Hughes of Contractor Dynamics. Joe, thanks for joining us. Before you go in business spotlight, tell us a little bit of background on you.
Absolutely, Jonathan. Awesome to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, Joe Hughes. I live here at the Jersey Shore. I'm married to my wife, Alyssa, of 13 years. Our son is 11. Our daughter's 8. Have an awesome family, and I own a business called Contractor Dynamics. Been in business a little over 10 years, and we are a marketing training company for the construction industry. So that's my little elevator pitch
There
there.
you go. So walk us through that. You said construction's always been in your family, in your blood, from a young age. It's funny. My wife's this exact her whole family construction, so I get it. How was that growing up? And did you always know you wanted to run and operate a business?
Oh man, it was awesome. So yeah, I grew up in my family's business called Hughes Marine Firms. Started in 1894, so they're about 130 years old right now and going strong, still growing. Really cool. So I had the opportunity to learn a lot, to work with my father, my uncles, and cousins, and all that. And it's a pretty sizable organization, and learned a ton there about just different aspects of business. And I left there on good terms. I know not many people leave a successful family business, but as some people resonate with, I had that entrepreneurial bone in my body, and I just wanted to go out there and create something of my own. So I didn't. I've never been in like big corporate America or anything like that. I've always like worked in small biz, so that's kind of been my thing, I guess. I didn't really know that I wanted to run my own business until I started reading some Tim Ferriss books back in 2007. So that's
Okay.
like 16 years ago. He was like one of the first books, like blogs I started reading, and kind of opened my eyes to like, yeah, like you can go out and create whatever you want without having like, a big startup fund or anything like that.
Yeah, that's very cool. So, how long would you say you worked in your family's business?
So I worked. So it's just a little context. It's a maritime construction and real estate business. So like
Okay.
barges, tugboats, like bridges, like anything that's on the water, based out in New York City and operating up and down the East Coast of the United States. And so I worked out in the shipyard starting when I was 14 for summers through high school and college and all that. Learned a lot of the blue collar trades.
Yeah.
Drove forklifts and tugboats, all that stuff. That was fun. And then after college, I graduated with a business degree and worked in the office here in New Jersey for about 9 years.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was about 9 years on and off outside, 9 years inside the office. So a pretty good run.
Awesome. And so, when you read that book, Tim Ferriss, what were the things that appealed to you about starting and running your own business?
I would say one of the things was really you don't need to have like a ton of money to do so. You can bootstrap. Number two was you can find people that are experts all over, literally all over the world, which is commonplace today in 2023, but it wasn't so much back then. And you can have this freedom to make as much money as you want, to have freedom over your time, to have freedom over your location, as far as having a location independent business. That was appealing to me.
Yep.
So yeah, that was kind of like the light switch. I was like, oh wow, like there's this, like I had this like steady path, like job security, career security, all everything going on could have been set, but I saw this other thing, and that was very exciting, and I want to try it out.
There you go. What were some of the biggest mistakes, like looking back when you started? What were some things that you wish you could? I wouldn't say do over because most of us make mistakes we never really want to do over. We probably just don't want the damage to be done because that's how you learn.
Yeah, I know, right? So I had my business plan. I had this typed out, like I don't even know how many pages. I wish I could dig it up. I don't know where it might be, but I spent a lot of hours on that. Like I would come home from my, day job and work on it at night. And then I left the biz and I started out like from zero. I would say for anyone looking to maybe leave corporate America or leave a current situation and start something on your own, definitely like maybe start moonlighting or start on the side, like get some traction before you get going. Because when you like lose an income and then you're starting from like zero,
Yeah.
it's just, I would say, unnecessarily stressful. So yeah, that was one thing for sure. You don't have a plan until Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And it was like, yeah, you can have a business plan, but you go out there and you start talking to people in the market, and like, that's how you actually build your business plan. So that was number one. Number two, for some crazy reason, I thought and this is, man, I guess I'm dating myself. This is before social media got like really big. So I didn't really have exposure to like, the whole world basically like we do today. So I thought like somehow my business model, which is marketing for contracting companies, was unique. And like I had to figure out all the steps on my own. And that's kind of like partly my mindset as growing up, like working blue collar. It's like, well, if this thing needs to get done, like I'll just go over there and figure out how to get it done. And like that was my mentality, and still is to a large extent. So I like for the first 3 years, I again unnecessarily, I would say, struggled because I thought I had to figure out everything on my own. And it wasn't until I joined my first ever, I guess, mastermind forum. This is like before Facebook groups even. And I met a guy who ended up being my business coach, Tim. This is 2015. And I finally like, wow, okay, Tim's 10 years older than me. He had experience like building a company and several companies. And I was like, okay, I don't have to figure out all the things on my own. I don't have to make all the mistakes on my own. Like, this is amazing. So that's like lesson number two. Don't try to figure out everything on your own, because like, unless you're Elon Musk trying to colonize Mars, like what you're looking to do has, someone's already done it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what do you see today a lot of contractors do wrong when it comes to marketing?
Oh man. I mean, how much time do we got now?
No kidding, right?
So we're a marketing training company. We're an education company. So we don't actually do the marketing for our clients. Like we teach them how to do it themselves. And I mean, that's the biggest challenge. And that's why we built our business the way we did. The challenge is they're not educated about it. And they go out and try to hire someone to like get it done for them, and they don't understand it. So they're, vulnerable to being taken advantage of. They don't understand how to do it themselves. Like, and if you're a contractor, you own a company, you either come from sales or you come from like the production end, which means you know how to sell or you know how to build. And, very rarely is it that like a roofing company or a contracting company owner will have that skill set in marketing and really in business in general. So, same here. I didn't have that skill set when I first started, but, I built those things. I'm still building those every day. So I think that's the number one thing, is like, just like I would say, unwillingness to like educate themselves on how marketing works before they go out and try it themselves or try to hire someone for it.
That's really, really great insight for that, because how can you measure or monitor what you don't know yourself?
Yeah, like the analogy I use all the time is like bookkeeping, right? So if I hire a bookkeeper, which I do have, to run the books manage the books of my business, but I don't understand anything about like like basic business financials. Like, number one, I'm not going to be able to get great results working with that person, because I'm not going to be able to collaborate with them because I have no idea what I'm talking about. And number two, I'm at risk for being taken advantage of because I just don't know. And you get to tax season, it's like, oh, what do you mean? Like, I don't have any money to pay taxes, or like my books are all jacked up. Well, like you got to take ownership as a business, and just, I don't need to know everything about my books, but just like, enough to be in the conversation.
Exactly. Enough to be dangerous, but not to do the full thing yourself.
Yes, exactly.
Got it. So
yeah.
No, you go. Sorry.
I know. I mean, I don't, I don't want to learn the whole thing, because then I'd be tempted to do it myself. Right. So I'd rather just like know enough so I can collaborate with someone.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think everyone has been through a lot of those dynamics where you're trying to run a business. The way I put it is, there are some people in this world that are great at doing that thing. They could be the best at doing whatever that thing is, but they don't know how to run a business. And that's why you have to bring in and hire other people. A lot of times in restaurants, you see it. Amazing food, have no idea about marketing, bookkeeping, finances, auto repair. You have people that are great technicians, can fix anything, have no clue. believe it or not, you see this a lot in the medical space, more so than any other industry I work with, and I work with them all. And I believe that because if you went to school for 12 years to do one thing, that one thing only, and you're not teaching any of the business aspect of it or the marketing or any of that, you're going to struggle. So, and I see it because you see it when they come in and I work with them, right? Because I see all all those areas.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What made you want to serve contractors? Like your ideal client? What you picked that because you were familiar with that space?
I did, yes, and it's morphed over time. So yes, it's like I have the background. I see the gap. I see that. To say it nicely, like the contracting industry is a few years behind the times when it comes to adoption of technology, innovation, software, CRMs, marketing, that sort of thing. So there's definitely a gap there, and I love that we can come in and really like make a big difference just by like taking them from like 0 or 1 to like 8 or 9 out of 10 or whatever it might be. So the ability to have an impact is awesome. And yeah, it's a very, we work mostly with roofing companies right now. We've kind of morphed that in over the past 5 years, and it's a very entrepreneurial space. Like a lot of our clients or the owners of roofing companies are very entrepreneurial, very like into personal development. A lot of them are around my age where they're growing a business, they're growing a family, they're trying to be healthy, they're trying to do all the things that we're all trying to do, right? So it comes down to a part of it is like, yeah, like who do I want to be spending time with, and I learn from them as well. So yeah, for all those reasons, that's we've been in the roofing industry specifically for the past 5 years, and we will be at least through 2025, and then beyond that. I don't know. Gotta see where it takes us from there.
Okay. Now you said that with great level of confidence through 25. Makes me believe, and I know because I know you work with Mike, and Mike's a stud. Not even trying to use his vernacular or anything. That's all based on a plan that you have. You are scheduled out to a 25, aren't you?
Yes, and I love Mike, but this comes from someone else. It comes from Cameron Herold. He's written many books. One of them was called Vivid Vision. I'm looking around. I might even have it on my desk, but I guess I don't.
Yeah,
but,
you might have just given me something on my reading list.
Oh, dude, yeah. So small book.
Okay.
Actually, I have another one of his books on my desk, free PR, which is pretty cool too. How to do your own PR. But Vivid Vision, and basically what he lays out is, hey, you have a business. 10 years is like an eternity. It's kind of really hard to plan 10 years. Like things are changing so fast, and I definitely resonate with that. 1 year is kind of like, there's only a certain amount of stuff you can get done in 1 year. It's kind of short. So 3 years is where he settles in as like a good medium, middle ground. So he helps you in the book create this 3-year vivid vision. So like for us, we created it at the beginning of this year. So 2023, 24, and then through 25. So we have a vision for where we want the company to be, where like what we want it to look and feel like on December 31st, 2025. And that's all written out, shared with our team and everything like that. So we have that North Star, and that's huge because like every decision that we make, especially the big ones, is weighed in context of like, hey, does it help us to get to that vision or not? Absolutely. So yeah, I love it. I geek out over it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we're gonna stay on this because I like it so much, and a lot of people don't or can't communicate this. So this is great. You made me pass the test we talked about. So when you're doing this, who is involved with this planning?
The Vivid Vision?
Yep.
So following the book, he recommends that you create it as the founder, the visionary. So I'm 100% owner. I know there's people out there that might have partners, whatever, business partners. Yep. So create it as the owners of the company. Basically, he walks you through like, typical like go out into the woods like Henry David Thoreau into a cabin and for a weekend and get away from technology, really like, just kind of let the ideas flow. I didn't do that, but I created it over a period of time. So yeah, so I created it. back in over, I guess, like, Christmas of last year. So about, 6 months ago, and then shared it with our leadership team, of 4 of us in our Q1 leadership meeting, and, read it out to them and asked them for any feedback or questions or anything like that. And because I am 100% owner, but like we do make decisions as a leadership team. So I think we made a few tweaks to it, and that's it, and then from there you go and share it with the rest of your company. You share it with, whoever you want. You want to share it with your vendors, your suppliers, your bookkeeper, your, whoever's in your world, that can help you. Cameron Herold actually has it right on his website, so you can go read it right now. So he's all in with it. I haven't done that, but yeah, that's the gist of it.
And how often do you check in or check back with that to see if you're on course, and if you're off course, how do you make those adjustments?
At least quarterly. So we have our quarterly leadership meetings. We follow the EOS system, so we have structured quarterly meetings. So at least quarterly, we're reviewing that. And if we are off track, let's see, what do we do? I mean, a lot of it is, there's to us as a client service business, there's 2 parts. It's like the ability to bring on clients at a certain rate, and then the ability to bring on team members at a certain rate. So it's like, if we're behind on our client acquisition, then we need to step up our marketing and sales. If we're behind on hiring, then we need to like build out our recruiting funnel. So we're kind of always working on both. I handle the marketing, and then Elizabeth, my right hand, she handles the hiring and all that. So those 2 things are the big pillars, and then there's other ancillary things that go into that. But like, if those 2 things are on track, then we're in good shape.
Everything works when you're hiring the right people and hiring the right clients.
Yeah, they're the right clients. You're right. Exactly.
Yep. I will say in the last 2 years, because I've been doing this for a little bit, I finally fired some clients.
Wow.
It felt great. Have you done that yet?
I don't think I can say I fired any clients as far as like, hey man, like we can't work with you anymore. We do have clients that just that end up leaving us, and usually it's like kind of a blessing. It's just not like, it's not a good fit. They weren't an ideal client to begin with. So then we go back to the drawing board. Like, we actually had one last week, and we're like, well, what, it's not just like what we did to service that client. It's like, what did that client expect when they saw our marketing messaging, when they went to our website? How did that sales conversation go? Like, what were their expectations? How was the onboarding process? So like, all those things go into that. But yeah, I don't know if I've actually ever fired a client, but I wouldn't have a problem doing it. I think it just people kind of weed themselves out. Like, they self-select,
Absolutely. So who would your ideal client be besides a roofer? Or is it just a roofer that needs help with marketing? Is there a certain, let's say, revenue range?
Yeah. So this is super important. Like, we talked about lessons for the audience, right? So when we first start out as a business, you just kind of like do whatever you need to do. Whoever wants to give you money, you figure it out, right? And then like, I think not enough people graduate from that point, but as soon as possible, we need to graduate from that and be like, all right, like, these clients are awesome. They're profitable. These clients they're not very profitable. They're a pain. And it's the old 80-20 rule, right? So there's going to be 20% of clients that create 80% of the problems in a business. And we got to identify who those are very quickly. So it's a constant thing that we work on. We talk about it in our quarterly leadership meetings, like who's ideal, who's not. So definitely for any entrepreneur out there, like, get clear on that. And even like, we work with some pretty big companies that have never really like sat down and figured that out. Because the thing is, like, when you're not doing any marketing, you kind of just take on whatever comes your way, referrals, like whatever. But when you're proactive and you identify your ideal client, then you can like, create that process where you're generating more of those and attracting more of those through your content, your marketing, referrals, whatever it might be. So for us, it's because we're a marketing training company. a roofing company that we are working with needs to be able to spend 10 to 40 plus hours every week doing their marketing. So it is a company that has someone in addition to the owner that is wearing the marketing hat for 10 hours a week, every week. So, most of our clients have a full-time in-house marketing person that we are training them. Some of our clients, it's like a spouse or son or daughter, whatever. But we've identified for us anyway that like generally the owner operator type client for us is just not like going to work because inevitably they're just, you wear so many hats, right? So when I talked about clients that leave, it's usually like the owner operators that just, they're like, I had ambitions for making time for this and I don't. So like, all right, let's just part ways because it's not going to work,
Smart. What is if you don't have to, but if you feel comfortable enough answering this, what would you say the average client, how long does it take them to learn everything and be self-sufficient? Or are you always kind of leading the way and testing new strategies for them to implement?
Yeah, and that's probably one of the biggest challenges we face in our market is, and maybe this is every industry, I don't know, we focus on one, but the short-term mindset of like, hey, I want to like start marketing on July 1st. Like, how quickly am I going to get my ROI? And I wrote a blog post about that today, actually. We try to like shift the paradigm of people where it's like, dude, like when you're building your brand and you're creating content and you're building this marketing machine, your business, like the ROI is infinite. It might not come right away within the first couple of weeks. Ideally, we like to get people like results within the first 90 days just to show them that like it works, right? But ideally, we have a 12-month program. So a client signs up on July 1st. We work with them for 12 months. Ideally, we continue working with them thereafter because we do have a portion of our training program that's business coaching as well. We have some other things too. So it just depends where they're at and how much guidance they need. Ideally, we want to work with someone forever because marketing is always changing, landscape's always changing and things like that. But there are companies that come in for, we have we do have kind of a down sell. It's a 3-month program. We do have some people in that just kind of want, they want a jolt and they want to figure some things out. And a lot of times they'll come in for 3 months and then they realize how much they don't know. And then they end up sticking around. So yeah, I mean, marketing is just, it's an infinite game.
Absolutely. Well, the platforms change their mind every other second. So
yeah, platforms, like I was helping a client today with some messaging. So like writing some headlines for his Facebook ads. And like, I was thinking about like, you got to think about where people are this time of year, which is June, July versus January. So like the time of year is going to be different. So, it's not just like a set it, forget it, type of thing.
I've spoken with a lot of marketing people, a lot. I have never heard that, not once.
What's that?
Think about the time of year.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
Right. 100%. Because I know my business, that makes a huge difference. So that's
we change our marketing, per time of year. So like January, it's like, all right, get everything in order for the new year, going to crush the new year, harness that new year momentum and energy. And then this time of year, it's like, hey, our clients are all busy. So it's like, they don't need leads. It's more about like, hey, you're busy. You want to like, just like make hay while the sun is shining and get as much as you can right now. That's kind of the messaging now. So it's all about like tapping into that not even message, but like tapping into like what's going on in their heads right now. And like, how can I tap into that?
What is your ideal client thinking?
Exactly. Yeah. What are they thinking? What's their pain point? Like what's bad experience that they had in the past? What do they need to see and believe in order to like be comfortable enough reaching out to you? Like all those questions. It's, psychology, marketing is psychology in one aspect for sure.
It is 100%. What do you see in terms of platforms? Like what are some of your favorite platforms for marketing? And what do you see on any of these newer platforms coming up?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not the guy that's going to sit here and say, hey, like this is the way you need to go. There's so many ways that you can like grow your business And I think one of the most difficult things is like, okay, I have this buffet of options here. Like, what do I choose? Like, we have clients that do really well that do a lot of like door knocking. We have clients that do like direct mail, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, LinkedIn, YouTube. There are some doing TikTok, but that's not a focus of ours. It's just like, that's not where, like, if you're a roofing company, like that's the TikTok is aging upwards for sure. But what we tell our clients and anyone listening is like, don't try to be everywhere, because you don't have the budget, you don't have the bandwidth. Like, figure out where your market is and where they're spending time, and focus your firepower there and go deep rather than trying to go wide. I think there's this concept like, you have to be everywhere. Gary Vee talks about it. You got to be everywhere. I love Gary Vee, but he's got a gigantic team of people that help him be everywhere. Like, even us as a marketing company, like LinkedIn for us, huge opportunity. I don't really do much LinkedIn. We just don't have the bandwidth. We focus on Facebook, Instagram, our podcast, YouTube. That's where our market spends a lot of time. So figure out where your market spends time, go deep with that, because what you get by going deep is you get the data from testing and testing and testing, and you're able to like see what's working, what's not, and then you continually like make adjustments based on what's working so you can improve. If you go wide and you're not going as deep, you're never going to get enough data to figure out like what's working and what's not. So that's our philosophy on that. And then the specific platforms will be dependent upon, whatever type of business you have.
That's awesome. Very true too. Very, very true. TikTok, what I found is it might be good to bring eyeballs to a different platform, but no, not a lot of people are doing direct response stuff there. At least in my opinion, it hasn't worked at all for financing.
I wouldn't see it. I'm not very qualified to talk about TikTok. Like, we post on there, a few times a week just to kind of be on there, but I have zero expectation. I don't play around with the platform. Not that I don't believe in it. It's just a matter of like, we focus, just don't have the bandwidth to do it. But yeah, I would see for you being like LinkedIn for sure. YouTube podcasts. Yeah.
YouTube podcasts and Facebook and Instagram, believe it or not.
Yeah. Our market. Yeah. For our market, it's Facebook and Instagram, like primarily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. What words of wisdom would you want to leave anyone that is about to start a business, or let's say someone's 5 years in and struggling with their content or their lead generation?
Yeah, I'll answer that in two parts. So number one would be get clear on what you want and why. Going back to what we talked about before, like, I don't think enough people are clear on what they want to build and why. You see, we talked about it before, like, you see people on Instagram or Facebook, like big businesses and flexing and all that. Like, oh, I want that. I want to build a $10 million roofing company. Well, do you, or is that just like what you saw the other guy do? Right. Like, what do you want? Like, how do you want to spend your time? What do you want how many hours a week do you want to work? What kind of clients do you want to work with? Do you want to work with clients, or do you want to have a product? Do you want to talk with to clients or not? So there's all these different types of questions. Some of those you won't know when you first start out. You just got to kind of get in the game, get in the arena, and then figure it out. But if you're 5 years in, like, kind of reevaluate that. And then like struggling with marketing, it's like, well, once you have clarity on what you want, like getting clarity on like who your ideal client is. And then, you can sit there and try to create content for them that's going to tap into that thought that's going on in their head. That's cool. But don't forget to like, either pick up the phone or go like talk to people and like ask them like, hey, what are you struggling with right now? That's how I started my business. I got on the phone. I cold called a bunch of contractors. I was like, hey, I'm starting this business. I got nothing to sell you right now, but like, what are some of the, challenges that you're facing when it comes to marketing, leads, whatever. So like that market intelligence is huge. We hosted an event out in Ohio last week for 75 contractors, and we like to do those things. Like, they take an enormous amount of energy and resources to put on. But one of the main goals in that is like being face to face and like literally like sitting down and breaking bread with our market and like, you know, seeing like what's going on in their heads and like what they're stressed out about and, you know, what they get excited about. Like get out in front of the market. I think so many maybe, you know, more young people today are just like hiding behind a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
You can get there, but it's going to be a slow road. So yeah, get out in front of your market, find out what they want, and then give it to them.
I do think business is moving a little bit more to old school. Like, hey, I met you here, face to face. And I think that's a great thing.
There's a guy. I still have a messenger up right now, my Facebook Messenger. There's a guy that's messaging me right now. I'm not looking at it. I just see the tab.
Yeah.
He was at one of our events in Texas like 3 years ago. And like,
Yep.
you know, we're still in contact. So yeah, I 100% agree with that.
That's awesome. Well, Joe, thank you so much for coming on. If someone wanted to work with you, where is the best place for them to reach you? How can they get in touch with you?
I guess 2 parts again. Number one, my Instagram at Hey Joseph Hughes. Personal, I put out content every day. And then our business is contractordynamics.com. There's like free training videos, schedule a sales call, whatever you want on there. So those are the 2 places. Putting
Awesome.
out content daily on Instagram, Facebook, and all the channels.
Well, Joe, thank you so much, man. You crushed this, made the cut for sure. All right. I appreciate it. And guys, hit him up. I can tell after speaking with people, speaking with enough people, who knows what's actually going on, who has no clue. And I know some of the people Joe rolls with. So hit him up. And Joe, thanks again.
I appreciate